Best Picture and Best Director. Best Picture was Hurt Locker, of course, and Best Director was Catherine Bigelow. I think that Best Picture was a crime, but Best Director was flat out mental. So here comes the controversy. Look, I liked Hurt Locker better than I liked Avatar. Okay, so I really liked Hurt Locker. It's not about that. But Avatar is a historic movie. It's the highest grossing movie of all time. That's not by accident. It obviously appeals to people, right? And it's revolutionary in its breakthrough of the technology, et cetera. It took 10 years to make, et cetera, all right? And then Inglourious Basterds was a great way of telling that story. It was totally unique and a novel way of telling that story. I've been seeing movies for a long time. We've been reviewing movies, and I didn't see Bastards coming, man. It was fantastic. And 20 years from now, we're going to look back and say, Hurt Locker? Hurt Locker? That's the main thing it's going to be remembered for, is the movie that beat Avatar, okay? And so, but you can disagree on that. And you can say Hurt Locker was a better movie for whatever reasons. Hey, you know, the Academy Award people, they don't like James Cameron and they don't like the giant blue Smurfs, whatever. They give it to a real movie like Hurt Locker. I don't agree with it. Okay, but you can make a case for that. For Best Director, I don't think you can make a case. I'm going to go that far out on it, okay? No way should it have been Catherine Bigelow. No way. Okay, you're telling me James Cameron spends 10 years on this movie and knocks it the fuck out of the park, okay? Highest grossing movie of all time. All across the world, they love the movie. Revolutionary technology, as I said, et cetera, okay? He directs the shit out of it. And he doesn't get it? I know, it's so funny. He directs the shit out of it, and he doesn't get what the fuck. I think you know what I'm saying. And then I thought Tarantino did an awesome job of directing Inglourious Basterds. Again, the movie took turns that you don't normally see in a movie. There was something novel about it. There was something fascinating about it. Hurt Locker was a really good movie that was totally normal. It's not in the same league. Certainly for its directing. It's not in the same league as Avatar and Inglourious Basterds. So why did they give it to Catherine Bigelow? All right, I'm going to continue the controversy. I'm going to step it up. Because she's a woman. There, I said it. Okay, now it's out there.
Well, okay, give me some evidence behind that claim. Like, why? Why do you think that they gave it to her because she's a woman? Based on what?
All right, so look, first of all, do I know things for a fact? Of course not. I'm not in the mind of the Academy voters, right? And could it be because they hated James Cameron? The story is that Hollywood hates James Cameron. Yes. Could it be because they don't like the character-generated things, and then a lot of the voters are actors? Yes, it could be all those things. But I would still then give it to Inglourious Basterds rather than Hurt Locker. And you know, my case is the one I laid out. I just can't see it. So either you guys make the case, or other people make the case and explain to me how Hurt Locker was better directed than Avatar or Inglourious Basterds. I just don't see it. So, okay, so why the woman thing being relevant, right? Look, they haven't given it to a woman in all these years, right? Only 4 times nominated. And now, was that wrong? Yes, of course. I mean, the old school way of thinking is, oh, a woman can't direct as well as a man. That's crazy. That's so crazy, it doesn't make any kind of sense. Oh, it's like that classic example. Oh, blacks can't be quarterbacks. Why? It's crazy, right? But now, that doesn't mean that as soon as you have a woman who did a great job in a movie, and she did, that you give her the award, which is what I think they did. They're like, oh, we got a woman who did a great job here. It's time to make up for things. All right, let's give it to her. But that's patronizing. She wasn't as good as James Cameron, and everybody in the world knows it. And so to give it to her, I think that sets back the cause. Jesus.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm torn. I'm not going to say that, Hurt Locker deserved it more than Avatar deserved. But I think that directors do have a big role in portraying a story. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, Avatar's story was an easy story for James Cameron to direct. Mm-hmm. He didn't have to do much. It was an easy story, very easy to follow. The hard part was the visual part, which I think he did an amazing job. I hated the story. I wasn't thrilled about it. In the Hurt Locker, the story's great, and you got to give credit to the director because they're the ones who set that kind of tone. Do you know what I mean?
No, I do. And
so
look,
I think that's probably, I'm not saying that's the ultimate reason, but that probably took some part of why people probably lean more towards Hurt Locker. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying I was for either or. Visually,
I hear you.
Avatar was great, and Hurt Locker had a great story, screenwriter.
Look, for you to get better context of my personal biases, okay, I liked Hurt Locker more than Avatar because, and she did a great job of delivering it. I'm not saying she did a bad job, okay? The theme underlying it, they're making their own choice of their own free will, volunteering for the military, but at the same time, their life is controlled by forces that they can't control, like the Iraq War that's so senseless. I think she did a great job with it. But I disagree with Jesus in terms of the directing. I mean, just because it's a simple story doesn't mean that directing that movie was simple. But even if I agreed with Jesus, then you go to Inglourious Basterds.
But
because he told that story in a much more complicated and fascinating way.
Right. I didn't see Inglourious Basterds yet. But for me, the computer part takes away from the fact that it was amazingly more of a visual movie, takes away from his directing part, because he just created something with a computer. That's the way I see it. You see what I'm saying? That's why.
I think a lot of Academy voters see it your way, Jesus. So I get that. And look, understand this. Look, there are times when I tell you facts, and there are times I tell you opinions. This is my opinion, right? I come strong with it, of course, but it's my opinion. And it could be that, yeah, they don't like the character-generated stories. The Academy voters are like Jesus. And then it's down to Hurt Locker and Inglourious Basterds, and for whatever reason, they didn't like Inglourious Basterds. Could it be? Yes. I think, like I said in the beginning, 20 years, we're going to look back and go, what the hell were they thinking? That's crazy. Anna, last thoughts.
I wish I saw Hurt Locker. That's the one movie out of every movie nominated that I didn't see. And I wish I would have seen it so I could counter your arguments. But I don't know.
Because your instinct is that I'm, like...
I just think, look, I think it's unfair. I think it really downplays the achievements of Bigelow when you're saying that she only won because she's a woman. I think that's a terrible thing to say about someone. Okay? And...
Okay.
It really. I think you're belittling her. I think that's unfair.
Mm-hmm. And understand. Here's my final point on it. And I get what you're saying, and that's why it's controversial. That's why I feel kind of bad saying it. But I really believe it. Okay. And it's not she made a bad movie and they just gave it to her. Oh, she's a woman, just gave it to her. No, she made a great movie. Just as I've said now 8 different times, not as good as the other 2 in terms of directing, right? But for me, what clinches it in my mind is if Hurt Locker was directed by a man, there's no way it would have won. Again, it's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I would have fell out of my chair if the Hurt Locker had won when it was directed by a guy. No way. I find it inconceivable. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.